Loud to you. Can you hear me? We
Yeah,
are
I'd like it
we're
louder, but I don't think it's anything.
live. Dave, we're live. Say hello.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming along. How are you all?
I'm sure they're all well, but they're going to be a lot fitter after this, aren't they?
Well, I hope so. It might take a little while, but I'm going to try and help to keep people well today. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So Dave, first of all, introduce yourself, because I keep wanting to call you the fat old guy, but you're the fit old guy, aren't you?
So yeah, anybody that doesn't know me, so I'm Dave Stickland, and by day, I'm a dad with a lovely partner, Adele, and 3 kids. I make a living by selling private healthcare. But what that does to me is gives me a massive fear, because every time a customer calls me, it could be because they're ill or in pain. And that's why basically I now call myself that fit old guy, to try and help people stay well, because I do believe I know how to do that. There is a way to do it. And hopefully I'm going to share as most of that as I can with you today.
Absolutely. And the thing is, I do this show 15 minutes behind the profile, and it's all about finding out a little bit more about people that we see on LinkedIn. And you came on that show in November. It was seems like yesterday, but it was ages ago. And the questions that we had coming in, the questions that I had, because go on, spill the beans. How old are you, mate?
I'm 60 shortly.
Yeah, absolutely. And but you still look young, you still look fit, you keep yourself healthy. And I'm sort of like, I want some of that. I really want some of that. And the questions that we had coming down the side as well were, yeah, let's have some of that. Let's have some of that. So this show is purely to answer all of those other questions that people had, and off the back of that show, how many questions did how many people were checking you out and wanted to have a chat with you?
Oh yeah, totally. And please fire away today, whatever it is. If I can't answer immediately, I'll DM you. I'm going to do my best. You can see I've got everything around the room. Okay, I've got all my books. I've got my rings. I've got my weights. I've even got a whiteboard if I need to illustrate something. So anything you've got, however weird, if you think goji berries are your latest thing and you want to find out whether they're good or not, just give me a shout.
Brilliant. The first thing is you've done a couple of posts this week all about health and goodness knows what else, and there's a lot of myths, isn't there, that we need to dispel. What's the biggest one?
Yeah, so I think I mainly here, I think, because we're all buried in information, right? It could be the Daily Mail telling us that, well, goji berries are the latest superfood. There's so much contradictory information, and actually it's so easy. You asked me the question, what's the biggest one? Probably the fact that most people just go out and run, cycle, swim and row, what I call monostructural exercise. And we'll get onto it later, but it's not the greatest thing unless you're extremely fit to do it.
Okay. So, and that's the thing. I think a lot of people, most popular one's running, isn't it?
Yeah, running. And, the thing about running, the reason it's called monostructural, because it's a repetitive movement that pounds your body repetitively in the same way, which is why so many of the posts that you got, Ash, were actually really sad in response to your new year. There's several lads on there that said, basically, I used to run, now my knees are knackered, same old. And that really shouldn't happen, right? Your body's not there. Your body is incredible machine. It will almost last forever. And it's only because of abuse that it will be letting you down, or you will be in pain. And the same follows for running.
So actually, are you saying then that runners are abusers?
Yeah, I mean, I hate the expression everything in moderation, because moderation can be abusive. And running is fabulous for mental health. It's fabulous for getting out in nature. And I am not saying stop monostructural exercise, but I am saying that if it is the main core of your fitness regime, then it's probably not doing you any good. If you back it up with weights and other complementary exercise, by all means, it'll probably be incredible for you.
Fantastic. And that's the thing, isn't it? And this is when we talk about diet, because in your post you were saying you can have your pizza, you can have your wine, and you can have chocolates while you're watching Netflix. And hang on a minute, you're that fit old guy. So what are you doing sat down watching Netflix with a glass of wine and some chocolates?
Yeah, so the thing is that, food has turned into a bit of a religion, in my view. There are so many fundamentalists out there. We've got the keto bods, we've got the low cal bods, we've got the high cal bods, paleo, Atkins, it just goes on, and we're buried in this stuff, right? And basically, there's only 4 diets. There's belief diets. I know we've got a couple of vegans and vegetarians on here, and the same goes for kosher, halal, whatever. So, let's park those for a second, right? Those are belief based. Secondly, we've got sports and occupational based. So people that want a high protein or whatever sort of diet they need. In cold climates, it might be higher fat. And then we've got remedial diets. Okay, so this is where keto came in. It was for the therapy of epilepsy. And you've also got, obviously insulin and sugar-based diets for diabetics. So those 3 diets are one thing, right? Park those. Big respect to those. Everything else, whether it's intermittent fasting, low cal, high cal, Atkins, paleo, they're all modern inventions, and they all work in the same way, which is by a calorie deficit. Okay, you can only lose weight by being in a calorie deficit, which is eating less calories than you expend. It's not magic. And if anybody challenges you on this, just come to me. You cannot defy physics. So some of them have great arguments, these people. The low carbers are great because they just cut out carbs and they lose weight. Well, they will, because whole carbs hold tons of water, right? So you're losing in water. So there's no magic. You need to be in a calorie deficit if you want to lose weight. But hopefully most people on this will want to maintain it or gain it.
So actually what you're saying is you get out what you put in, but if you don't put in so much, you don't need to get out so much. So
correct.
That like you say, this isn't rocket science, is it?
No.
If I don't know, is it 2,500 calories I'm allowed to eat a day?
Yeah, pretty spot on actually, Ash. We're not far off the same size. So I have 2,200. And I know that it takes 1,400 to keep me live. That's what you call your BMR, or your base metabolic rate. So if I just got up and watched Netflix, I'm going to use 1,400 calories. Okay. And then the rest of it's going to be...
Hang on, here's a question. So if you watch Netflix and it was something like paint drying, are you going to expend the same amount of calories as if you would maybe watching the whole Bourne adventures?
Well, yeah. There's a small nuance there. I suppose if you've got adrenaline pumping and your heart's pumping slightly faster because you're watching a horror movie, possibly, but it's minor.
But yeah, so it's going to be 1,402 or 1,403.
Yeah. After your BMR, which is your base metabolic rate. So let's take me 2,200 calories a day. I need those 1,400 just to get up and breathe. That's my kidneys, my everything that I need to operate, my brain. The rest of it, a majority is going to be taken up with NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So don't worry about all this bull talk, but just think of NEAT. That's everything you do walking around living, okay? Going upstairs, chatting here, playing with the kids. And that is a bulk of the rest, okay? And the EAT, the exercise activity thermogenesis, is nearly half of that. So even if you're an athlete and you gun it for an hour or 2 a day, you will probably still be using up only half what you use in NEAT. So rushing around and being a busy person and being a waiter and whatever you do in life is probably going to lose you much more weight than pumping down the gym.
Yeah. And this is something that makes me laugh is you see these people that they've got active jobs. So you and I guess we sit at a desk most of the day. So you wouldn't call that an active job, but I see scaffolders are classics.
Yeah.
I see them down the gym. I see them running, and you sort of like think, blimey, you've been chucking scaffold poles around all day. Why are you
Yeah,
going? Why
yeah.
are you going down the gym?
Well, there's a really important point here. So there's a difference between the thing about NEAT and dog walking and Pilates and yoga and yet everything else we want to tell ourselves that is healthy is okay. All right. But it's not special. It's not going to make a metabolic adaptation in you. So to do that, I'm sorry to say this, but you do need at least 150 minutes a week with your heart rate above 60% of its max. Okay. So putting that simply, roughly 20 minutes a day, you need to pump your heart at about 60% of its max. And if you don't know what your maximum heartbeat is, it's 220, the number 220 minus your age. So for me, I've got to get my heart up to about 100 beats a minute. And unless you're doing that, you're just going to atrophy, right? Which is why we've got so much heart disease. The heart is a muscle just like that. It's no different. You need to go and pump it.
Okay.
Sorry,
So
bad news. More bad news.
20 minutes a day. So I live in Sidmouth. There's a lot of hills. There's a lot of hills in Sidmouth, and I try to include those in my walks, and that's getting my heart pumping. So
Correct.
is that good enough?
Yeah, so that's my big caveat. So I've been sort of shot down in flames when I've said dog walking is pointless. It's me trying to get it's like clickbait, isn't it? But
yeah, but hang on a second. I've seen dog walkers, right?
yeah.
What they do is they go to the park, they throw a ball, and they stand and chat to their mates while they're having a fag.
Correct.
Okay, that's you get away with what you're saying then.
Yeah.
Okay.
When
I walk my dog, he gets back and just crashes because how far have we walked today? So that's
I mean, there's a context around this talk which I haven't really articulated, and that is everything I say today. You need to bear in mind, I'm trying to advise people how to get to the age of 90 without medication, okay, being pain-free and living independently. And I know it's an arbitrary thing, but we've got to start somewhere. My advice here isn't to make you a triathlete or a weightlifter. Everybody on this call, sadly, is going to have an average of 13 years of morbidity. Okay, that is a stat, right? And morbidity means putting up with a pretty severe illness or medication.
Is that everybody? Or
that's everybody. Obviously, it's an average,
not,
right? So
or
it's
everybody
like
that's not going to listen to
smoking kills.
Right.
Which we all know it does, but all of us know there's a 95-year-old that we used to live next door that smokes 60 a day, and he's still well healthy, isn't he? So
sure.
So it's a bit like the same conversation, but the average in the Western world is that we're all of us on this call going to suffer 13 years of morbidity, which is pain, disease, and medication. So my talk is based on keeping that at bay and being the next Prince Philip, who just died gracefully at 100.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I've got a few people I've got to give a shout out. We got Matt, your friend and mine.
Yay, Matt!
Lisa's here.
Lovely. Hi, Lise.
Apparently, she's trying not to die, and I don't know what you said, but it made her laugh. And we've got Lucy on as well, and I don't know what that comment was for. Maybe about being 90. I don't know. But yeah, guys, thanks for joining. If you've got any questions for this amazing fit old guy, Dave, then please put them in the chat box and keep the conversation going. If I do everything that you're doing, and I'm looking like you when I'm 60, am I going to have 13 years of morbidity? I can't even say it, but am I going to have 13 years, or am I going to reduce that because I'm doing the right things?
Yeah, you're highly likely to reduce it. So the body's pretty clever. You can make an adaptation incredibly quickly. I mean, I only started on my journey at the age of 56. So, I mean, before that, I used to do blokey type things like get Lycra on and, you know, go on bikes and
Yeah,
run and do the normal mammal stuff.
Yeah, you think that you're fit. Lisa's got a great question. Is it too late to start once you're over 40? Well, when you get there, Lisa, tell us.
Lisa, I started at 56.
So it's never. Look, and this is the thing, right? I've heard this a few times in the last couple of weeks, that the best time to get fit, Dave, for you and me, was 20 years ago. The second best time to do it is now.
Correct. And I think there's always this myth, you know, when people give up smoking, apparently that smoke goes out of your body in about 2 or 3 months, doesn't it? And your outcomes are better almost instantly. And it's the same with fitness. So yeah, Claire, I mean,
Claire, it's fine.
If 50, somebody. Claire said all over 50. Yeah, yes, Claire, I started at 56. So go for it.
So at the moment, everybody else that I can see, because there's people that are watching that aren't commenting, everybody else is coming to the party early.
Yeah. I think it's important what you do, to be honest, Ash. I mean, I can talk a bit about that. I think going out running, getting off the sofa, you know, couch to 5K is a really laudable initiative. It's not one I'm a huge fan of, and that's simply because the injury rates are so massive. People just get up from the sofa and they start jogging, and to be honest, they're not fit for it, which sounds cruel, I know, but you've got to be fit to run. It's a strong movement, and you need good core. So I think it's important to talk about how the body works. Do you want to give me a few minutes and I'll try and demonstrate that?
Yeah, that would be absolutely superb, because we need to know what this is. And one of the reasons that I wanted to do this more intimately with you is I think I'm okay, but you're doing everything right. I'm doing a few things right, but you're doing everything right, and it's all about the everything, isn't it? That's the main thing here.
It is. It's about everything, and most of all, it's about enjoyment. So you've got to try and find this. There's absolutely no point in going out exercising. It's miserable. It's the same as being on those rubbish diets. It's miserable. You know what I mean? Adherence is everything with fitness. So, you know, you've got to find a way to eat pizza, have Prosecco, have chocolate, and you'll only do that if you know your numbers and you know your BMR and you know your maintenance calories. You know, you instantly said yours, Ash, which is brilliant. So you know, if you blow out on a Saturday night, you know, you can pull it back on a Tuesday or Wednesday. So you're not going to get anywhere unless you know your numbers, and you're probably not going to get anywhere fitness wise unless you know how the body works. So shall I just give you a quick demo and you say if I'm waffling too much?
No, you carry on. Give us a demo of what we should be doing while you're walking over to wherever you're going. Brian's come up with a great...
So hopefully the screen's clear enough. I just want to really say you've got three gears to your phenomenal engine, okay? And most of us use our aerobic gear, which is getting up to turn Netflix on and off. Well, no, you've even got a remote for that, but you know what I mean, walking around. And obviously, when you go into our monostructural exercise, running, cycling, swimming, you cruise at altitude in aerobic mode. But before any of that, you've got the most powerful mode of all, which is called your phosphagen. Okay, so I'm going to demo that here. I think you can just see the weights. Can you see this? Ash?
Yeah, we can see that. We can't see the guy lifting up the other side, though.
No. Right. Okay. So I've got a weight here, which is about 1.5 times my body weight. Okay. It's 100 kilos. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into a deadlift. Okay. And I'm going to lift that off the ground. So that's 1.5 my body weight. And I can do about 2 or 3 times. And I've come back to the screen and I'm not out of breath. Okay. So the first 3 seconds of your energy system, you've got the ability to do that. You're phenomenal. And that's where that myth we all heard at school. Do you remember about the mum that could lift the car off her kid when it was trapped? Did you all hear that in the classroom?
Yeah.
So you've got that power. Okay. But you need muscle to use the power, because, you know, you might lift a mountain bike on and off the back of a car. You might want to help a kid with a sofa, lifting stuff up to their student block, whatever, right? Okay, so you've got this amazing machinery, and people like Eddie Hall and all the strongmen obviously they train in this zone to pick up massive weights, and that happens in the first 3 seconds. And if you're not strong, you will get twinges, you'll get this, you'll get hurt, you get sore backs. You know, that's where all that comes from, right? Because you haven't got yourself strong enough. As soon as you've hit 3 seconds, you very slowly transfer. So I'm going to make a fool of myself again. You very slowly transfer into a second fuel system. So this is called your glycolytic. I've got a fairly big dumbbell there. Can you see it?
Yeah, is that 15 kilos each
Yeah,
side?
it's 15 kilos, but bear in mind, it's only about a fifth of that bar.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this up and down about 5 times. I'm not going to bore you. I'm going to keep talking, right? So I'm going to do it twice more, and the weight is much less. And I'm going to come back to the screen, and I'm going to start chatting to you. And you can see I'm starting to get gassed already. So that's my adaptation. I'm starting to pull on sugar, on carbs, and on air. And I'm in that mode pretty much for up to 3 minutes, okay? So this is the mode I respect most personally. These are kind of the 400-meter runners. They're the functional fitness athletes. They're the people that can do very powerful work in short periods of time. And if I keep that up, I'm then going up towards altitude. I'm going into aerobic mode, and you can probably see at the back there, I've got a rower. I'm not going to row for you, but you've got the drift, okay? So I've got gear 1, phosphagen.
Yep.
Very powerful. I've got gear 2, glycogen. Okay, so I'm starting to use my carbs, starting to use a bit more air. And then I've got aerobic. And most of us are only interested in our aerobic system. And that's really the meat of what I'm talking about, because if you just do monostructural exercise, you are just going to end up with injury. If you do weights, not only are you going to pump your muscles and you're going to get strength to play with the grandchildren and do all the things that your brain is going to tell you to do in life as an older person, after about 5 reps, you're going to be gassing your chest as well. Okay, so when I say gas, it's just a hip CrossFit expression for getting out of breath. So, okay. So I'm getting cardio. I'm getting bang for buck. I'm killing 2 birds. So why would you waste your energy going on a cardio machine indoors? It's soul destroying, when, you know, perhaps you can be out for a run and enjoy, or out for a row, or out for a cycle. But going indoors and being on any form of aerobic machine just strikes me as soul destroying. But that is a personal view.
So here's a personal view. I was up at the leisure centre a while back, waiting for somebody or what have you, and I saw all these fit young things driving in, parking up in the car park, walking into the gym and doing all their stuff on the machines. And I sort of like, why didn't they just run here? In fact, why don't they just run?
Yeah.
Save the planet for the miles on the car, and save themselves a gym membership.
Absolutely. I think all these things are all fine and dandy, though. You know, it's all very well for me to spout this, but you know, you've got to find a way to do it, to be honest. All these things are actually non-negotiables. So it's not advice I'm giving you. They're things that actually, if you want to fulfill the remit that we've given about the talk, so be medication and pain-free at 90, you do actually have to do these things. It's not me telling you, right?
Yeah.
I hope I'm not being dictatorial, but you do actually have to do them. And I think, you know, the morbidity rates are horrendous. The metabolic diseases are just horrific. I can see actually Paul has just said, I tried to lift my backward snap. No, Paul, you're much fitter than you think. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You need to start off light, and you do need to build. But yeah, I mean, we're all dying, sadly, really too young, even at 70, you know, and and they're nearly always lifestyle issues. But you've got to find a way, right? So you need to find a way to do this enjoyably. I have found it in CrossFit, but there are loads of other functional fitness communities. And the beauty of them is that you can join them. You can either go to the gym, but the huge thing is they're all coached. You're not walking into an empty room and being left to your own devices. You're actually there being taught in a class, and it's so much fun. And if you don't like that and you want to stay in your home, all of the PTs will do you something for an app on your phone, and you can just do it at home.
Cool. So I've got a few questions here. So can I just
keep
stop your flow here? So Brian wants to know, is vape any better than smoking? Because he just cannot give up the cigarettes.
So I'm not really a medic, but I do try and keep my eyes out on all the latest stuff. And most people would suggest that vaping's a hell of a lot better than tobacco.
Yeah,
a hell of a lot. It's a big step.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That would be my thinking.
Yeah, you're always going to get fundamentalists on a campaign.
Do you offer advice on giving up stuff? Because if I'm and I like my wine or I like my beer, so I need to cut down. Obviously, 3 beers every night isn't good. You don't mind me having a beer once a week, but how do we give up these things that we know we shouldn't be doing?
I think probably the best thing is not to, because the most important thing about all of this is adherence, right? So I think when I rant on for longer, I talk about the 3 big A's. Ambition. You need an ambition to be fit, right? So that might be driven by vanity, that you want to look cool and you want to look fit. It might be for your partner, that you want to be more well for them and you want to stay around longer for them. You need accountability to somebody, right? To keep on going every day. Now, I have a coach, Jack, so I use mine on the app as I suggested, and I've got my gym stuff at home. And Jack, I just know if I don't work out, Jack's at the other end. And, I haven't done it, I'll get a bollocking. Well, I don't, but he's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
He's mentally, accountability. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the third thing is adherence. And adherence is all about very simple things, like on Sunday night, writing when you're going to do your workout every day. And why not reward yourself with a beer and chocolate? Nothing is ever going to work if you put yourself in denial. But if weight loss is your thing, you need to know your numbers. I know that a bottle of beer for me is 400 calories. And then come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll just knock back my intake by 100 calories, which isn't a lot.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? Is knowing your numbers. So if I want 2 beers, it's 200 calories, and then if I want that pizza and the Ben and Jerry's, that's probably 400 calories I need to knock back every day, and then that's when it becomes difficult, isn't it? So yeah. that's a great that's a great way to look at it. We got some more some more questions flying in here.
Can I also say, if you go on a bender and you massively pig out and have loads of beers, don't punish yourself. You're not going to put on fat there and then. Most of it's going to come out in poo and wee, right? I mean, I change from about 3 kilos a day.
Okay, that's.
I don't want to talk about my toilet habits.
That's far too much information, but we know where you're coming from.
You will change.
Yeah, sure. I am active and eat better, but can't quite give up the vape, which is the lowest mg. Will this still be a problem?
Well, you know what, Brian? I mean, as long as, there's a hierarchy of being well, isn't there? And, if you look at somebody like Cristiano Ronaldo, the key things he'll put in place are cardio and muscular fitness first. And then he'll work up a pyramid to a point where he's bought the best boots, he's bought the best mattress, he's got the best mum to look after him, he's got the best supplements, and they'll all go up a pyramid. But the pyramid will collapse if he doesn't keep his cardiovascular health and his diet together. So I think what I'm saying to Brian is probably, if you enjoy it and you get the other parts of your pyramid in place, then your vaping is probably going to be of very little impact to you.
Yeah. Whereas the guy that's eating, crisps and chocolate while watching Netflix, goes down the pub every night with his mates and has 2 beers and is vaping, then he's in a much serious position, and obviously drives to the pub. He doesn't even walk. So no, well done, Brian, for being active and eating. I think that's all the questions we've got so far. But if anyone's got any questions, please shout. And Barbara's already said that this is about her first dieting advice that actually makes sense. So thanks very much, Dave.
Thank you, Barbara.
Carry on, sir. Where were we?
Yeah, so, well, we got to a really good point there about pyramids and hierarchies. So I think the same applies to food. So we all get our knickers in a twist about whether we want a skinny latte, whether we got soya in our coffee, whether blueberries are good for us, whatever. That minutiae, again, is complete and utter tut. It really will have almost no bearing on your health outcomes. But what will is knowing what macros you're eating. So food is really only 3 things. Now, I know I'm going to be bombarded and people say, no, it's full of micronutrients and all these things. Yes, they are. But there are 3 essential foodstuffs. They are protein, fat, and carbo. And if you've got those 3 in the right proportions, that is the bottom of your pyramid. It's all, if those are out of balance, it's completely, utterly pointless in worrying whether you're eating enough spinach or not, or whether your bacon's got nitrate in it. Because you've got to put the big pillars in place first. Most of us undereat protein. It's a controversial subject because protein can be really expensive and it can be ecologically damning as well. So it's always surrounded by controversy. But bearing in mind this LinkedIn Live is about health and your health markers, I have to make my recommendations based on that, not on the good of the planet. So I know I've got a couple of good friends on here probably that are vegans. You can have both, but in my view, it's incredibly hard still, because I'm going to give you another little demo.
Oh, fantastic.
So here is a chicken fillet.
Nice.
Which is going to kick in. It's got bacon on it, but ignore that. That's going to kick in. That's going to kick in about 100 grams of 50 to 100 grams of protein. Okay, so that's an absolute nuclear bomb. It's fantastic. I'd need that once a day on top of my protein needs for breakfast and dinner. But here is the equivalent in pea protein. Okay. So that pea protein not only is going to blow my stomach to pieces and the wind that comes out of it, but there's going to be about 1,200 calories in that and 200 calories in this chicken. And there is where the problem lies for vegans at the moment. Now, they can overcome that. So this is not me damning veganism. I do see it as the future, but I don't see it as market ready yet. It needs to be mixed. Obviously, these pulses also aren't full proteins, so they need to be mixed with other beans and pulses to make a full protein. You can do it, but the knowledge is not there yet, in my view. I think there are people doing a great job. If anybody wants to shout out or wants to know who to follow if they're a vegan or vegetarian, there's a guy called Fritz Horstman, okay? Fritz, F-R-I-T-Z, Horstman, H-O-R-S-T-M-A-N-N. He's the only vegan I've actually found on social media that makes sense from a health point of view and a strength point of view. And obviously he's ecologically sound. But beware, 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 beware. At the moment, I don't feel that the market is optimized to get you healthy by being a vegan.
Okay, so what
it's
about
hard work? It's hard work.
So how big a lump of cheese would I need on there? Because there is protein in cheese, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, you know, The thing about food, Ash, is that everything is a little bit of everything. And there is protein in cheese, but it's also hugely fatty. So if weight control is your thing, all right, not everybody on this call is necessarily after weight control. So if it's actual protein that you want, and protein should be 25% of your diet, then you're probably best going lean. Because cheese is lovely and you're pretty fit, Ash, so you can probably eat cheese without any problem at all, but it will stack up.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the question, right? And this one comes from Mrs. Leeds. Okay.
Yeah.
We've cut meat and fish out of our diets recently. But we're flexible. So if we go somewhere and they're cooking meat, then we'll eat it. It's for environmental reasons, not for animals and all that sort of malarkey. And she's saying, look, we need to eat more protein. So ask Dave.
She's right.
What? Yeah, she's going to love this. I won't play this back to her.
So when I say this, I'm also going to apologize to the vegans and vegetarians again. But the thing about eating a lot of protein is from about 30 years old, your body will not synthesize muscle, okay? You've got hormones up until that age. That's why my teenage son is just totally ripped and he doesn't do a lot. But after that age, your 30s and 40s, you can't synthesize muscle, but you can by working out and eating enough protein. And the body won't store protein, unlike carbohydrates and fats. So if you're going to do a workout and you don't have enough protein that day, then it's highly unlikely that all those efforts that you've made in the gym are going to turn into muscle build because you haven't given it the amino acids as backup. So to answer Mrs. Leeds, my breakfast would generally be scrambled egg and salmon, maybe a piece of toast. It could be bacon. Baked beans are pretty good for protein, and egg. And if you follow that chap, I don't like him too much, but he's always cheeky, the body coach. He's got some good protein pancakes. So start the day off right. Start the day with a high protein, because then the problem is if you don't have a decent breakfast of protein, you'll then have just 2 meals to catch up on. And that's even harder work. So what I do is I do the body coach's protein pancake, or I have the scrambled egg and bacon. Then I know I'm ready. And then I also prep my lunch. So here's another demo. So if you can buy yourself, I know people hate prepping, but you can get these little tubs on Amazon. They're £8 for 10 of them. Sunday night, just cook a load of rice up, and that's actually turkey mince there, because turkey's cheap, and it's a really, really good source of protein, powerful. So I've got probably about 70 grams of protein in there. So by my lunchtime, I'm pretty loaded up. It means at night time I just need to have one fillet of fish, and I've reached satiation point for my protein needs. And if this is a vegetarian, then this needs to be a mixture of pea and beans and stuff. They need to work that out, but also very possible. I know this looks boring, by the way, and looks like dog food, but I just prep these two. I put them in the freezer. When I take them out, I add all the tomatoes, cucumber salad, olive oil, balsamic, and it makes a really sexy lunch every day. So I really recommend that, because it will keep you on cue. And then it doesn't really matter what you eat at night. You can have lasagna, shepherd's pie, or whatever you have with your family.
So what you're saying is it's all about making sure that you're getting the right amount of protein all the way through the day, rather than being vegetarian all morning and then having a steak at night.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, you don't need to be neurotic about it. There are some people that say, oh, I need to have a protein juice just before I go down the gym, or I need to fill up with protein and carb just after I go to the gym. Again, pretty much nonsense unless you're an absolute elite athlete. If you have 3 good meals, if you're over 40, you really do need to do this. Really, you do. And actually, it's much more important than the balance of fat and carbs. I mean, ideally, you want your half of your plate as carbs and veg, but you're much more important to get your protein on cue first, because we undereat it.
No, that's incredible. That's something for me to take away. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So I've got the ambition. I want to be that fit old guy. So that's good. So I've got my ambition.
Yeah. So if I take you any more questions, otherwise I'll have another little.
More comments than questions. But Lisa's doing a 205-mile cycle ride for Children's Hospice. So that's a great why to have, Lisa. How's the training going for that then?
Yeah, I mean, I know Lisa well, and I think she's pretty good at doing muscular exercises for her as well. I mean, injury avoidance is huge with these monostructural things. It's not just the obvious like saddle sore, but there's hips, neck, back. You know, I see them all coming down the road outside. I live on the old A30, and really admirable. You see so many, people over 70 cycling away, but it's hard on the body too.
So what sort of oh, here we go. Good question here from Juanita. How would you recommend to know how much of each you are eating? How do you know? What's the best?
Great question,
yeah.
Juanita. Yeah. Okay. So, really, Grunt, you've got to get onto MyFitnessPal. There is no other way. I'm sorry, but you've got to download MyFitnessPal. There are other apps, but to be honest, most people use MyFitnessPal. And you've got to plug in your food for 7 or 8 days. And at the end, it will turn out what macros you're currently eating. And what I recommend you do in that 7 days is just eat what you do now. You don't want any stress, right? You just want to put in the porridge, put in the honey, put in the milk, put in your tea, put in your sugar, put all the stuff in, because then you'll be able to tell MyFitnessPal what you're currently at. And then at the end of the 7 days, you can look where your protein, carbs, and fats are, and you can adjust to suit. I mean, it's a much friendlier app now, and there's even a barcode reader. So if you do buy a product from the supermarkets, you can zap it. And it's also intelligent enough to know, it'll say, oh, did you have the same breakfast as yesterday? So you can put yes to egg, yes to bacon, yes to baked beans. But you won't get anywhere unless you measure. Sorry, I sound like an accountant.
No, but this is the thing, and when I did a diet ages ago, and because I was measuring everything, when you measure it, you actually keep an eye on it, and you're like, really? How many biscuits did I eat?
Yeah, I think the other thing is that, do you know what? You only actually need to do it for a few days. So I occasionally fall off the wagon in the sense that I don't eat enough protein. So I might put in to MyFitnessPal just for 3 or 4 days, and it'll show I've under protein. So I'll just add another egg at breakfast, or after a while, you don't need to stay on these wretched things.
No, and this is what I found out.
Yeah.
And like you say, that a bottle of beer is 400 calories.
Yeah, yeah. And you're a great machine, Okay, another small rant. Right, so the human being has taken 6 million years to form, give or take, from an amoeba. So if I draw an imaginary line from Exeter to Bristol, and that is 6 million years, right? Then only the last bit, probably from Soughton to the city centre, have we been as we are now, right, as sapiens. And in the last bit, in the Cathedral Green, is the time that we've been industrialized and lived in urban areas and had agriculture. So from Bristol to the cathedral, you have some machinery that has been made unbelievably, and it's been made to operate in the ways that I'm trying to describe now. And what we're all trying to do now is undo that. But there is a way to live. And I was talking to somebody this morning about this whole running, cycling thing. You're not meant to do that. And the hunter-gatherer didn't go running over the savannah with spears. The hunter-gatherer generally was much more intelligent. They would have walked out to the spot that they knew where their prey was for, say, 4, 5, 6 hours. And then when they were up on them, there was a last amount of fury, sprinting, grunting, stabbing, killing. And whilst the hunt party were doing that, the ladies generally were digging and digging bloody hard, digging for root, for yam, everything else. And when the boys weren't hunting, they'd be climbing trees for the honey. And we were probably at our prime. Evolutionary biologists are starting to reveal that physically we were probably at our prime between about 200,000 and 5,000 years ago. But we all want to kid ourselves that it was terrible and everybody was eaten alive by big saber-toothed tigers. But we were incredibly fit, and that's why I'm so passionate about functional fitness, because you're meant to operate in that way. You're not meant to. I mean, I love triathletes.
Sit at a desk all day.
Yeah. Lisa, a protein shake's good. So I love a protein shake because one scoop will put about 25 grams of protein into me. So it's a really nice cheat. And it makes it up. So if I've had a really good weight session, I'll have a scoop in some milk or yogurt at night. So why not? But personally, I wouldn't use it as a meal replacement unless you really must. Juicing, supplementation, utterly pointless. This is where the digestive system starts, is with the teeth.
Yeah. Got another question here from Richard. Also 60. How many times a week should I be running to stay fit without getting injured? I'm training for a duathlon, so need to keep the miles up.
Wow, Richard, where do I start? Okay, so you're probably a pretty fit bloke. I'm just going to say, basically, just don't do too much of this stuff. It's much more important that you're strong to run. It's really admirable that you're doing this. But I just don't believe in running as a core part of fitness. I believe it's something you can do and you should be able to go out and run 10K. But it just leads, I've just heard too many people being injured. They got dodgy knees, they got dodgy hips. If you're an exceptional guy and you do use weights and you do go to the gym, then good on you. Then just keep on going. Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. But it's not my method. It's not my method of keeping well.
That's a fair answer. I love this from Paul. Talking to Dave, as I do, the message is succinctly delivered and easy to understand. However, when I talk to friends, it comes out to me like wet bread. Where can we send people who want to hear this message? Well, they can watch the recording, I'm sure, Paul. But where can we find more of this? So we want the MyFitnessPal, I guess.
Yeah, and also I'm going to probably organise a talk, around, I don't know how many people are local, but I'm probably going to organise a talk at somewhere like the Hotel du Vin or wherever anybody wants it to be. And it'll be a freebie, so I'd love you all to come along.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Keep you in touch with that.
Or a regular gym meeting or something like that. With bowel cancer being a big killer, then don't forget about the fibre.
Nice one, Teresa. Okay, so last demo.
Oh, look at this. So it's a bag of crisps.
So I've got a massive packet of spinach here. Can you see how big
fantastic.
that is?
Absolutely.
So there's 90 calories in that, a huge bag of spinach there. And that spoon is the same amount of calories as olive oil, right? So the point of demoing that to you and to answer Teresa a bit is it's a great bulker to eat leaf. And the thing is, the reason we're all getting pretty fat is because the spoon doesn't take up much of your tummy, and the vagus nerve knows that, and it activates ghrelin, etc. And that's the switch that tells your brain that you're full. So you can keep on heaping this olive oil in, right? At 90 calories a throw, and the signal's not going to go to your body that you're full yet, which is why you can chuck down donuts and why you can chuck down burgers. But if you do this, and you can't, again, you're going to have a massive toilet problem. But as Teresa said, it's really, really important to get the leaf in, because not only will it make you feel more satiated, but it's going to line particularly the small intestine, and it's going to then let food go through you much more slowly, and you're not going to have those insulin issues. So if I had a really good demo here, I would have had a kitchen sieve. I would have showed you me pouring water through the sieve and it just peeing out on the side, right? And then I would have put these leaves in, and then I would have poured the water again, and you would obviously seen it dripping out much more slowly and randomly out of the bottom of that leaf.
Makes
So
a lot of sense.
really important, Teresa. Nice one.
You've got a lovely way. Richard's just said it's a great way of explaining human evolution, but everything you've explained today just makes so much sense. I've got another question here from Juanita. Do you have to give up? Do you have to up your protein when you exercise, and does it depend on which exercise?
Oh, definitely, Juanita. Yeah, definitely. Actually, I did a post on Insta about this, and I can't remember the numbers now, but that's a really good point. So, if I remember rightly, you can probably get away. So somebody like me needs to eat about 2 grams per kilo of my body weight a day, which is about 140 grams. So without blowing your mind, that's probably 3 big chicken breasts. But if I'm not weight training, I can probably just eat maybe 1.2, so the equivalent of 1 chicken breast a day. So no, you don't need to be honest. Yeah, it's a good point. Good point. So no, there are figures, and if you can go back to my Instagram account, that fit old guy, I have actually got a carousel, and the numbers are on there. I think it's 1.2, Anita, and then for optimum, you probably, if you go down to the gym 3 times a week and you do weights and you run and you're active, you're probably at about 1.5, 1.6. But because I'm 60 and I pump iron, I'm about 2 grams. So that's grams per kilo of your body weight. Okay, so I'm 70 kilos, and I want 2 grams of protein per kilo of my body weight. So that's 140 grams a day.
Makes a lot of sense. Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. So we need you, when we finish this, Dave, is to drop in your Instagram account so people can come and find you.
Yeah, sure.
So if you can do that, thank you. The comments I've got coming in, everyone loves you.
Oh, right? Bless.
So you're fine. You're fine if you ever get kicked out. Juanita has Brazil nuts every day for fiber.
Yeah.
Lisa's saying this is helping so much.
Yeah, I mean, Juanita, the only thing I'd say about Brazil nuts and stuff, I mean, I know Juanita well, and she's fit as a fit thing, so it's probably not an issue. But there is a calorie issue with Brazil nuts. They are obviously calorifically intense. So, if you're worried about weight, which I know Juanita won't be, then it's something to look at.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I think this is what Mrs. Leeds has said is, it's all very well eating all this other stuff, but the meat would give you the protein a lot quicker, a bit more bang for your buck.
Yeah, and it's low cal as well, generally, if you cut the fat off.
Okay, so I go walking every day. I do some yoga every day. What else should I be doing to be a fit old guy?
Right, so walking and yoga are both not going to make any metabolic change in you, okay? So let's just remember what metabolism is. Your metabolism is every chemical process that's going on in your body. And to be metabolic, you have to be metabolically fit to keep all the metabolic illnesses at bay, which we're all dying from. That's most cancers. It's all heart disease. It's dementia. Do you know what I mean? It's almost everything people die from. We're getting very ill. And you need to make a metabolic adaptation. And that means you need muscle mass and you need heart mass. It's easy to do, but we've all forgotten how to do it. So I consider walking. Right, okay. Here's my best metaphor of the day.
Here we go.
Imagine yourself as a JCB digger.
Yep.
Bear with me. You've got a front scoop.
Yep.
Right? and you've got the
I've,
back
I've,
actor.
I've heard you talking about this one
Yeah,
before.
the
Yep, got
front
this.
scoop is your food, right? And that is the most powerful thing that you can do to alter your weight, right? But it will not impact your metabolic health. You can eat salad all day and fish. It's not going to alter your metabolic health, but it is going to feed you well and it is going to keep weight control. Your back actor is everything about your metabolic health. And the two levers are very different, okay? So if you're going out to walk a dog, it's not going to have any bearing on this back actor because you're not pushing your heart or your muscles unless you're Ashley and you're going up that Sidmouth Hill. So I want you to see your body as being two levered. And yoga, unless you do Ashtanga, I'm not a yoga expert, and I know there is a really amazing aggressive yoga, but generally yoga, again, metabolically is pointless. It can make you feel well and flexible, but it's not going to make a metabolic adaptation in you. So I'm going to go back to the fact you need to be strong, you need to be muscular, and so do women. And girls, don't worry about building bulk. Even if you're in the gym 4 hours a day for 3 years, I promise you, your hormones won't let you look bulky. Even the world champion CrossFitter, she looks great in an evening dress. So please just build muscle. You need muscle. It's the biggest thing in your body.
So what's some exercises that I can do that are fun? Because the thought of going down the gym just...
Right. So I hate prescribing exercises, but I will tell you that compound exercises are by far the best for you. And what I mean by a compound exercise is something that's going to use nearly all your body. Okay, so a compound exercise very simply can be a squat. Because if I'm squatting, and this isn't a squat by the way, dropping floppy, you're tensing every muscle in your body. Okay, and if you do a proper squat, you're using every muscle in your body. And if you want to increase the power of that squat, you get your broom, you stick it above your head, and you start to squat like that. And when you can squat to the point where your hip joint is below your knee joint, then keep going, right? I want to see 50 from you. So that's the most basic compound movement.
Is that 50 a week?
No. So if I'm on holiday, I will do 50 squats, 50 press ups, right? And then 50 sit ups. And then I'll do 40, 30, 20, 10. Right? And the other compound movements, what I showed you earlier, the deadlift is incredibly powerful because you are enacting every muscle in your body. So if you look at the effort that I'm involved in doing this, right, it's taking all my power to lift this bugger. It's taking every fiber of my body to lift that. Everything is engaged, even my wrists. I've got to hold the bar. So compound movements are the most efficient thing. But remember, you need progressive overload. It's pointless going to a gym or doing your own exercise and doing the same thing the next day because there's no adaptation. So if you do one squat one day, you need to do 2 the next, 10 the next, 20 the next. You need to be in the same amount of sweat factor day in, day out. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. No,
it's called progressive overload.
Superb.
So please never do the same thing again. I mean, you're allowed a day off, obviously. If you're not feeling great, you can back off, but your general trend should be progressive overload. And I strongly recommend getting a PT or getting a program or going to a functional fitness or CrossFit gym.
Because that's going to give you the accountability and someone that knows a little bit more about what they're doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know Matt's really into this, so I think Matt and I are going to chat about it. And actually this weekend, I'm training as a CrossFit coach to add credibility to what I'm saying, but also if anybody wants to message me about where to go or who to speak to.
Dave, you don't need any credibility. Just take a step back so everybody can see how fit you look.
Well, I don't know. I look fit. I'm just in black. But
No, you do look fit. Absolutely superb. When we chatted about this, we were saying about 45 minutes, weren't we? And we've rattled on for an hour. And
yeah.
So if anyone's got any questions, please let's hear them. But Dave, thank you so much. This has been so informative. I'm going to go and have a chat with my wife. But I'm inspired by you, mate. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and what you believe in and how it's helping you and what we should be doing. So that's absolutely superb. But thank you so much. Anybody else got any questions before we go? So here we go. What's your last piece of advice to leave everybody today?
God. I would focus on rest and sleep. We haven't had time to talk about it. There's an incredible book called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. It's where fitness starts. If you're not resting and you're not sleeping, you cannot make any adaptation. Hey! Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, oh, brilliant, Ash. So yeah, you won't make any adaptation. And if you, Matthew Walker will tell you, if you lose 1 hour of sleep a night, it's equivalent about 400 calories. So get your sleep in place. And then get your body composition in place, okay? It's not all weight that matters. It's about what you're composed of. Most of us are around 40 to 50% muscle. The rest is fat, organs, bone, water. So if you can up your muscle, it's going to make a huge difference to your life. Not just lifting that mountain bike up onto the back of your car, throwing grandchildren into the air, and keeping all those aches and pains at bay. Because you shouldn't hurt. The body isn't designed to hurt. If it's hurting, you've done something very wrong, or more importantly, you're not doing it.
Fantastic. Dave, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks, everybody.
Cheerio out, and I'm sure we're going to speak to this guy again. All the best. Bye-bye.
Take care.